More than 2,000 years ago, a Greek philosopher sat down to tell a story that would refuse to die. His name was Plato, and he claimed that what he was about to describe was not a legend, not poetry, not a metaphor, but history. A real civilization, vast, powerful, and advanced beyond imagination. And then, in a single terrible moment, it was gone. He called it Atlantis. Plato said Atlantis was an island empire that existed long before his own time, beyond the known world, past the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to him, it was larger than Libya and Asia combined, a superpower of the ancient world. Its people mastered engineering, architecture, agriculture, and navigation. They built incredible concentric rings of land and water, massive canals, sprawling harbors, and temples clad in precious metals. Their capital city was a marvel of symmetry and design, something no Greek city could even compare to. Atlantis, Plato said, was rich beyond measure. Gold, silver, and a mysterious metal he called orichalcum adorned its buildings. Hot and cold water flowed through expertly engineered channels. Crops were harvested twice a year, as the land provided everything its people needed. The Atlanteans lived in unparalleled comfort, abundance, and power. But this was not just a story of wealth, it was a story of character. Plato described the original Atlanteans as noble, disciplined, and just. They respected the law. They lived in balance with nature. They were powerful, but they were restrained. Over time, however, something changed. Prosperity bred arrogance, power bred greed. The Atlanteans began to believe they were superior to all others. They sought conquest, attempting to dominate the Mediterranean world, including Greece itself. And then, Plato says, the gods intervened. In a single day and night of terrible earthquakes and floods, Atlantis was swallowed by the sea. The island sank, its people vanished. Ships could no longer pass through the region because the waters were choked with mud and debris. A civilization that had ruled the ocean was erased as if it had never existed. No ruins remained, no survivors told the tale. Only the memory survived. Plato claimed he didn't invent this story. He said it was passed down to him through his teacher, who heard it from Solon, a famous Athenian lawmaker who learned it from Egyptian priests. According to those priests, the Greeks were like children, constantly forgetting their own past, while Egypt preserved records stretching back thousands of years. Atlantis, they said, was one such forgotten truth. And this is where the mystery truly begins. Was Plato telling history or crafting a philosophical warning? For centuries, scholars dismissed Atlantis as a moral fable, a cautionary tale about hubris, the danger of pride, a warning that civilizations fall when they abandon virtue for excess. In this interpretation, Atlantis was never meant to be found on a map. It was meant to be understood in our hearts and minds. But others were not so convinced. Plato was incredibly precise. He gave measurements, locations, and timelines. He described the geography, political systems, even the irrigation methods. This level of detail made many wonder. Why invent so much if the story was purely symbolic? Why anchor it in real places and connect it to real people? The debate has never stopped. Over the centuries, people have tried to place Atlantis almost everywhere imaginable. In the Mediterranean, in the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean, Antarctica, even beneath the sands of the Sahara Desert. Some have tried to link Atlantis to the real-life volcanic eruption of Thera, which destroyed the Minoan civilization around 1600 BC. Others pointed to submerged structures near the Bahamas or strange underwater formations near Spain. Each theory ignited excitement, and each one, so far, has eventually fallen apart under scrutiny. And yet, the idea of Atlantis refuses to sink. Part of its power lies in what it represents. Atlantis embodies humanity's deepest fears and our greatest hopes. The idea that a civilization even more advanced than our own could vanish overnight is deeply unsettling. It challenges our modern belief that progress is permanent. It suggests that technology and wealth do not guarantee our survival. Atlantis is the nightmare lurking beneath civilization's confidence. It also speaks to a growing awareness of natural catastrophe. Earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions. Ancient people understood these forces intimately. Entire coastal settlements have vanished throughout prehistory. Sea levels rose, lands disappeared. To ancient storytellers, the idea of a great island sinking was not fantasy. It was a memory transformed into myth. Some researchers believe Atlantis may not have been a single place, but a composite memory. A blending of multiple disasters, multiple lost cultures, all distilled into one powerful, unforgettable narrative. In this view, Atlantis is not a lie, it is an echo from a forgotten past. Then there is the uncomfortable question of advanced knowledge. Every generation imagines itself as the most advanced in history, but Atlantis challenges that arrogance. It suggests that civilizations rise, peak, and fall, sometimes leaving almost no trace behind. Stone erodes, metals rust, wood disappears. If our own civilization collapsed tomorrow, how much of it would remain in 10,000 years? Probably not much. This is why Atlantis feels so modern. It mirrors our own anxieties about climate change, rising sea levels, and fragile global systems. A flood that erases an entire world no longer feels impossible. It feels strangely plausible, and perhaps that is Plato's greatest achievement. Whether Atlantis existed as a physical place or not, its disappearance feels real because it reflects a universal truth. Civilizations are not immortal. They depend on a delicate balance between power and restraint, between technology and wisdom, between our ambition and nature itself. When that balance breaks, collapse follows. So, the story of Atlantis is not just about the past, it's about us, right here, right now. Every age reshapes Atlantis in its own image. The Victorians imagined it as a lost utopia. Modern researchers imagine it as a drowned city. Futurists imagine it as a stark warning. The story adapts because the core fear remains the same, that everything we have built can be lost, and much faster than we think. Thousands of years after Plato wrote his dialogue, Atlantis still lies just beyond our reach. No map leads to it, no excavation has ever proven it. And yet, it continues to surface in the human imagination again and again, refusing to disappear. Maybe Atlantis was real. Maybe it was not. But the reason we still search for it is telling. We are not just looking for ancient ruins. We are looking for reassurance that our world is not as fragile as it sometimes feels, or, perhaps, for confirmation that it is. Atlantis sits at the intersection of myth and memory, warning and wonder, history and imagination. And perhaps that is where it was always meant to remain. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories that make you think.